You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Night Nation. Hello, Orlando. This is Andrew Phegley. This is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000 or visit me at DeLand Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram. I will be happy to help you out, and if you say "Go Knights" to me, you'll get a little bit of a discount. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Got Roger Phipps at Night Bengal from the Santa Rosa Beach studios. And you can watch and listen to all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. That's a lot to say. I wrote it, though, so I can't really complain. Anyway, we're talking UCF sports. Some news today in UCF sports. John Rice Plumlee coming from Ole Miss to UCF. He is I use this in air quotes, quarterback.
Right.
He was a wide receiver / quarterback at, and I guess center fielder or left fielder? Center fielder on the baseball team there at Ole Miss as well. So I guess he's going to be playing baseball at UCF as well. That'll be interesting. We haven't had a dual, sport athlete in a while, so that'll be kind of fun. Something new. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? It's not the quarterback type of a guy that I thought we would be, getting in the transfer portal. The other thing is, one of the things that I just discovered, he's wearing number 10, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
At all. And I know Mackenzie said it was okay or whatever, but I don't like it.
Well, it's a lot to live up to. I mean, obviously that's the number that he did wear at Ole Miss. And he was a quarterback. He was their starting quarterback as a freshman and ran for, he was mostly running stats. He filled up the running stat category. Wasn't much of a thrower, and then last 2 seasons he's been wide receiver, as you mentioned, or at least been playing that position. But he seems like he's somebody who's been brought in to fill in that kind of Gatewood, kind of change of pace, running quarterback role that Parker Navarro played as well at the end of the year. Doesn't seem like the guy that's going to be slinging the ball all over the yard. Gus does like the dual threat quarterback look. So we'll see. Maybe he's a change of pace. Maybe he can make some waves and show what he can do with his arm. I don't know.
This is the other thing that worries me. I mean, we know that he can run with the absolute best of them. He is extremely fast, extremely quick, can cut and everything else. He's almost like a running back and a quarterback, spot, like a wildcat, like we did with Gatewood and all that you said. But I don't ever remember seeing the guy throw the ball, number one. And why I just don't understand it. Why would you bring a guy like that in when you could have gotten, a throwing quarterback if you wanted to? I mean, Mikey Keene obviously, was a freshman, did quite well actually as a freshman. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And they make a big deal about it. Like, I don't know. It's not what I was expecting. And I knew that he had the potential of coming here and all that stuff. I'm just not excited about it. I'm excited maybe for him to run the ball. I want to see him throw the ball, and I want to see what that's all about before we make such a really big deal about this guy coming here.
And I want to hear what Roger has to say about this, but real quick before that, I'm going to look at it optimistically and say, and to response to what you're saying about throwing the ball, maybe Gus has a lot of confidence in what he's seen from Keene so far, throwing the ball and running the offense from the quarterback position. And then also we have a new freshman, Tommy Castellanos, coming in here. He just enrolled like yesterday, I believe. He just stepped on campus yesterday as an early enrollee. So he's going to be a freshman next year as well. Maybe he's seen enough from that he wants a veteran addition to the quarterback room, somebody he's not expecting to as I said, sling the ball over the yard, and we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, Roger, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, a few things. I think I'm going to take an opposite take from you guys, and not necessarily that I'm overly excited about him coming here. However, to Ben's point, he did start 9 games. He is more of a triple option type quarterback. So run first type of quarterback as opposed to throwing it all over the yard. His offense, Gus's offense, when you have a running quarterback like that, it really opens it up and creates one-on-one matchups. So I feel that no, he is looking to have him compete for the starting job. I feel also that he did a fairly good job at Ole Miss before he actually set the record at Ole Miss for the number of yards. He had, I think, 227 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns against LSU the one year that he played quarterback, and then he converted to wide receiver. Now, that being said, if you've got three options, right? Because if you think about Bowser coming back and you've got him back there that has the ability to run, and then you got old number 4 that's coming across the back, I think that gives him a lot of options to open up the type of offense that Gus likes. So to me, I don't see him as a Gatewood replacement in Gus's offense. I feel like Gus brought him in for a reason, but Thomas Castellanos can do both. And, I do think that just because we see him or may see him next year, not saying he'll supplant Mikey Keene, but if we do see him next year, that gives Thomas Castellanos the ability to sit for a year and get ready to go. So that's my opinion on it. It may be a little bit different.
So you think this guy is going to be the starting quarterback?
I didn't say that. I said he would compete. I do think that he does give Gus some options that he doesn't have with Mikey Keene.
Okay. Yeah, I don't get that, but yeah, I mean, what options does he not have with Mikey Keene that he has with this guy?
Mikey Keene can't run.
He can't run. He scored a really long, what was that, 40-yard run the one time that he really took off and ran? He looked almost like KZ out there running around that one. He dove into the end zone.
I wouldn't quite put him in KZ category, but I'll say this about that. In my opinion, if you watch the two of them run, okay, Mikey Keene didn't run very much at all this season. If you watch,
which was by design, though, right?
Yeah, which is normally by design with a freshman quarterback that you want him to concentrate
with no backups.
Yeah.
Well, even if he did, I mean, he had Parker Navarro, but we don't know what we saw in the off season during practice on Parker Navarro. But at the end of the day, to your point, you see what John Reese Plumlee brings to the table as far as speed and burst when it comes to the line. And he did it well at Ole Miss and won them games. So I'm thinking, personally, I think that, and Gus did recruit him when he was in high school.
As a wide receiver. Yeah.
But then as a QB. So, is he, our answer to our prayers? No, I don't think so. But do I think Gus sees a role for him as potentially challenging for the starting QB? Yeah, I don't think he's just
I think he's a Gatewood kind of guy. Period.
Well, we'll see.
Personally,
I mean, we'll see. But I have more trust in him than I do in Gatewood to run the ball.
Well, of course, yeah. Well, I mean, he's a much better runner than Gatewood was.
I mean, there's no doubt that the guy has speed a lot. I mean, he's fast.
And he's
incredibly
fast.
Not only fast, but he's quick.
Everybody said that he was the fastest player in the SEC.
Yeah,
period.
He's got lateral quickness as well. I mean, he's certainly a very capable runner. So that's exciting. I'm excited that he's coming here because of just his ability to do that as well. But I guess I'll just say, to kind of wrap up my thought on it, is that I just haven't seen. I guess I'm just wait and see mode on his ability to pass the ball. I mean, he started 9 games, as you mentioned, his freshman season, and he had 910 yards passing on 79 completions, 150 attempts. So he didn't.
What was
his
percentage?
He didn't pass the ball much. It was 52%.
It's like 54.
52%,
52%.
yeah, 53%, I guess, if we're rounding up. So yeah, 53%. So yeah, I mean, he completed about half of his passes. He didn't throw the ball much. He ran the ball a ton. And so that was the side of his game at Ole Miss that they liked his freshman year. And you mentioned the game against LSU. I mean, that wasn't just against LSU. That was number 1 in the country, LSU. So I mean, that's a big time performance by the kid. So I'm excited to see what that experience that he brings into this QB room, as I mentioned. But I'm wait and see mode, just like we're wait and see mode on if Gus opens up the offense as Mikey Keene as a quarterback on as far as running the ball. Certainly wait and see mode if he's inserted into Gus's offense, Plumlee is, and he throws the ball, because there's question marks on both sides, I think.
Yeah.
And KZ only had a 57% completion ratio on his freshman season as well.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah.
Versus a 53. So, who knows? I guess is my point. But yeah, he's definitely dynamic, and he definitely is someone to watch when he gets the ball in his hands and he pulls it and starts to run.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know that. We all know he can run. There's no dispute about that whatsoever. The dispute is, in my opinion, is using a transfer slot, using a scholarship for a guy that is a Joey Gatewood type guy. I mean, to me, he's a Joey Gatewood type guy. Joey Gatewood can't throw the ball, so he runs it. It's the only thing that he did in our offense is run it. I don't think he completed one pass. Maybe one.
I think one.
The other ones
one,
were thrown at people's feet the entire time, or way off. I mean, why not? I don't know. I'm weirded out by the entire thing. It totally weirds me out.
So I'm definitely not weirded out. I'm excited by the signee. I think we need somebody with that role. It's going to be interesting to see what this QB battle brings this coming fall, and what we'll see in the spring as a preview to that. But just for further reference, Mikey Keene was 64% as a true freshman this year in 11 games.
The other thing with that is, this is another thing that we need to talk about, the transfer portal and all these people transferring back and forth, and some guys flipping from one team to another after they've the transfer didn't go through, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah. Speaking
of, a certain guy that was a UCF player that I guess now is for the time being an Oklahoma player.
He sold some stocks in LA and he went over to Oklahoma.
How weird is that? Number one. So if you wondered about him, there you go. Right there. That's what commitment looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, in his eyes, I guess, because anyway, that's another story. We don't want to go totally off on that. But so what does this say to Mikey Keene bringing in a guy like this? Does it? I mean, if I was Mikey Keene, I'd be like, awesome, because he can't throw the ball.
I think if you're Mikey Keene, I think you expected us to sign a quarterback coming through the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And so it's no surprise to Mikey Keene. Maybe he has that same thought that you just
What does
said.
it say to Parker Navarro?
Well, I think same thing it says to Mikey Keene, because Parker Navarro had to have expected us to bring in a quarterback for the transfer portal as well. So they're all competing for spots in the QB room next year. And he adds another dynamic to that. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, great runner. I'm really worried and weary about him throwing the ball. I'm going to have to look up some Ole Miss footage when he threw the ball, I guess.
Most of his highlights, yes, do come from him running
because
the ball. Yeah.
Every highlight that I've ever seen of his, not one of them is throwing a football. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Okay. Anyway, lots of stuff as far as all that goes. So I think we're going to take this break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about basketball because there's all kinds of stuff to talk about there. There's some more football. We'll be right back, and we'll work through all this.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law. We're talking UCF sports. We just had a long conversation about this new quarterback commitment that we got out of the transfer portal today, John Rice Plumlee. And, I'm just, the whole thing is a little confusing to me. I don't know. Let's talk about basketball. Let's just start off there because
moving on.
Yeah, we just need to move on.
Moving on to other confusing things.
Exactly. What is going on, Ben? Ben, you called the game for ESPN Plus the other night on TV. You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
I only texted you once at something you said that was kind of funny, but it was a good way to say it. Anyway.
It's all right.
What happened out there? You were right courtside watching.
I was in that spot courtside for basically the whole day because since I was on the call for ESPN Plus, I was there for the shoot arounds during the day, and so I watched Temple shoot around, I watched UCF shoot around, and one of the things that I saw in my prep for the game is that Temple is really good about their guards getting into the paint and kicking out to wide open shooters, or there's some sort of action to get open shots. They were not making those shots, the 3-point shots, they at a high clip at all. They didn't in this game either. But when it came down to it, they were getting the open looks, and sometimes, especially when you put it in hands of their great players in clutch situations like Damian Dunn. With about 45 seconds left, he had to hit a big shot, and he did. And Dawkins even said after the game that he felt like they played that possession well defensively, except they didn't finish it. And the thing that he's talking about there is that Brandon Mahan didn't quite get his hand up on the closeout to try to block that shot. It wasn't a lazy closeout. He just didn't finish trying to get after him. And he rose up and knocked down the three to take the lead. And it was just, it was It was a crazy way to end it. And it almost seemed like the entire game, the last thing was it almost seemed like the entire game that UCF just knew they were more talented than Temple and deeper than Temple. And so they rested on that the whole game. They kind of felt like they could always come back
and down to the competition.
They did, because it just seemed like I don't want to say body language wise. It just seemed like demeanor wise.
The energy wasn't there.
They always felt like they were going to have the game. And then all of a sudden, when you play like that and something goes wrong, like the crazy play that happened with Ty Freeman at the end.
Yeah, that was weird.
Where he's expecting to be fouled. When something goes wrong and then they hit a big shot, now you're like, oh, crap, we've run out of time. And that's exactly what happened in this game. And it was a very disappointing loss. Now we go to 1-2 in conference. And it puts that much more pressure on the rest of the season in conference. We've got to now win big games that we may not have expected to win, future games in the season, like at Houston, at Memphis. These are games that now we need to win in order to really build a resume, because there's not many of those left.
Yeah. So did this kind of completely wipe out the Michigan win in a way? I mean, is it that big of a deal? It's a conference loss. We've got 2 now. I mean, 2 conference games, 3 conference games, because we already beat Temple a couple of weeks ago before. But 2 conference losses, right there in a row.
Yeah,
so.
the two losses in a row, certainly, hey, maybe if you want to look at it super optimistically, the good news is it's early in the conference season. And, maybe they needed a wake-up call. After the Michigan win, maybe they were feeling a little bit too high on themselves. And then they go to SMU and lose at a tough environment to play. That's a quad 1 loss. I mean, that's a top team loss. Even after that game, they're like, oh, we're still really good. And then they drop one here at home against Temple, and all of a sudden it's a wake-up call for the rest of the season. That's my hope. That's my optimistic awesome look, is that it's a wake-up call for the rest of the season, because they need to right the ship quick.
All right, well, we're going to take a break again, and we'll be back. Our next segment's a little bit longer, and we can talk about this quite a bit more. All right, we'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline tonight with you. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, give me a call, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000, or come see me at DeLand Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. I will help you out, and if you say "Go Knights" to me, I will give you a little bit of an extra discount. Taking your calls, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley at AP_Knightline. Got Big Ben Stout with me here at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter from the Santa Rosa Beach studios. And you can find all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. Talking UCF sports, as you know, as always. And we talked a little bit about football earlier and our new commit, JRP, he's going to go by, I guess, John Rice Plumlee, from Ole Miss, quarterback. And then we talked a little bit about the debacle that is UCF basketball at this point. We're going to continue with that real quick. Basketball, what do they need to do, Ben, to make this right and to come back and make the season what we thought that it was going to be from this point going forward? I think it needs to start immediately.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part, one of the many unfortunate parts about dropping that game against Temple at home is we were supposed to play almost immediately, this Saturday or yesterday against Tulsa at home as well. And it was going to be part of a 3-game homestand. That was Temple, Tulsa, and Memphis. And obviously Memphis is kind of the marquee matchup of those 3 games. And if we were able to go 3-0 in that homestand, it was just going to really set us up well for the rest of the conference. Now, the Tulsa game got postponed, and that news got announced right before we went on air for that game against Temple. And it really is just unfortunate that happened, because when you have a bad loss like we did on Wednesday night, you really just want to get back on the court and start playing, right? I mean, they kind of had their wake-up call. You don't really want to spend too much time, sulking and going over it. Now we have to wait an entire week and play Memphis this Wednesday night, January 12th. So that game is now that we're 1-2 in conference against a tough opponent. You never know what Memphis team you're going to see, but you do know that they have a ton of talent and they play defense really well. Penny Hardaway's Memphis team. So that's going to be one that I don't want to call it a must win, but certainly we need to get back on track. And going, beating Memphis is the best way to do that. Then you go on the road, play South Florida and ECU. So obviously those are games we want to take as well, but we've got to close out this now 2-game homestand with a win against a quality opponent in Memphis, because that's a big opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Roger, you got anything on that?
I got a lot on that. No, just kidding. I think Ben covered it pretty well. I mean, as far as the basketball team, there's 2 things that are going through my mind. What's their mindset going into Memphis? Memphis has not achieved what was expected of them so far this season in their out of conference, but in conference, I believe they're 2-0. So, for us, obviously Memphis is a good win, especially with the expectations that were set. As far as our positioning postseason, unfortunately, we're talking about that now. This had that much of an impact on our potential postseason. Although Joe Lunardi had us as the first 4 out, whereas before he had us the last 4 in. So can they recover? Yes. I'm just hoping they get their minds right, because we saw what they could do when we played Michigan. We saw what they could do when they played other games. They're just not meeting their potential. So to me, that's a mental challenge, and it's unfortunate that it happened the way that it did, but now that's the reality, and they've got to take a step forward, and all that is mental.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, I think all of them are must win at this point.
I mean, we've got to get something positive. We got to get positive momentum back on. We got to get it back on track after 2 losses that were, especially the one on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So back to football. We had a bunch of guys say that they were coming back for the season. The next upcoming season. Sam Jackson, lineman, which is a blessing in disguise with him, not really even in disguise.
Oh, that's huge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's absolutely huge. And
Anthony Montalvo. And Alex Ward.
Our long snapper. Those are very important ones as well. And Isaiah Bowser, obviously, probably this first or second most important, I would think.
Bowser's the headliner of that group for sure. But I love Sam Jackson back.
The big one too, in my opinion. So having Bowser back and having the chance for him to be healthy, hopefully, would make a huge difference in UCF football for next year. Just such a dynamic player, the size of him and the way that he runs and everything else. The thing is, he's never been completely healthy.
Yes.
His entire, career. And this would be, I think, his 5th or even 6th year of playing college football. So cross your fingers and, hope that this one is the year that he can be completely healthy.
Yeah, every game that Isaiah Bowser was able to play this year, he was impressive. But I would say 2 or 3. We've talked about this off the air recently. Is like the 2 or 3 games, like the Boise State game, obviously the Gasparilla Bowl, and then like 1 or 2 others that comes to mind. The 2 or 3 games where he was actually 100% for, or at least appeared to be, he was unbelievable in those games. So like if he can get back to that kind of sustained healthy body of his, it'd be very interesting to see what the type of season he could put together. It's just that's the one question mark with him. There's no question on his ability, that's for sure. If he can remain healthy, he's going to be a huge player for us next year.
Right. Well, literally and figuratively. Roger.
Wow. Ability versus durability, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it was huge for us to get him back no matter what, because he'll help us win some games next year, even if we don't have him the entire season. But for his own career and his NFL prospects, I do hope that he, does have a full season. Sam Jackson, I agree with you, Andrew, on this. Sam Jackson on O-line is a really, really, really big win for us for a couple reasons. One, he plays more than one position, and 2, for the continuity of the offensive line. We're now returning 3 out of the 5 versus 2 out of the 5. And I know that doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is a big difference when you're talking about continuity and play and understanding the system and setting blocks properly and doing all of those little things that nobody gives O-linemen credit for. But without those O-linemen, would our running backs, like Bowser, would he be as successful as he is? And we have to protect whoever's back there at the quarterback position, because early on in the season, we saw what that did to Mikey Keene. There was a lot of pressure there when he first, came in. Obviously, he made some mistakes rolling into coverages and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we all questioned, before the bowl game, whether the O-line was worn out. So the more continuity that we can bring back, the better it is for the running game, the better it is for the passing game, the better it is for everything else. So I think that's a huge win, because as we all know, the lines are what wins games. And they're more rare to find good linemen, especially at our level. So I was very, very happy to hear about that.
Okay, besides that news, a couple transfer portal type things this week as well. Katie McDaniel from the University of Kentucky coming over as a linebacker. And then even bigger news, in my opinion, Terrence Lewis coming from Maryland as a linebacker as well. And if you don't know this guy, or maybe remember hearing the name or something, Terrence Lewis, he was a 5-star commit out of high school, and was the number 1 linebacker in the 2020 class. 2020 class. Yeah, just a year ago.
Yeah.
He was injured and never played this year for Maryland. I guess
he would be the 2021 class, right? Yeah, I mean, because this would be. Yeah, last year was 2021 season. Yeah, so this is a 2021 class. You're right.
Yeah, so 2021 class.
Yeah.
Never played.
Yeah.
Was injured the entire time, had an ACL thing or whatever, but, has a bunch of eligibility left and now is a Knight. That's huge. You were saying during the break, what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying, as you mentioned, number one linebacker in the country, 5-star recruit. Just a year ago, if UCF was able to bring him in as a freshman out of high school, we would have committed multiple shows to talking about Terrence Lewis. I mean, it would have been the biggest get ever in UCF history, maybe Group of Five. I mean, it would just be such a huge get. And so as long as he has fully recovered from his injuries that he's had that kept him out his freshman season. Man, if he has that same explosiveness that garnered him the number one linebacker in the country out of high school, then man, this could be really big for us at a position of need going into next season.
A position of need because Tatum Bethune decided to transfer, which that was, in my opinion. I don't know. I really liked the guy. He was one of my favorite players. That was devastating to me when I heard that he was one of our number one tacklers last year, and really the heart of the defensive backfield with the linebackers.
Yeah.
Now I'm not so worried anymore with guys like this. And the guy from Kentucky is not a bad player by any means. Just needed a different opportunity. So he could be very exciting as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Tatum Bethune. I'm pretty sure that he went. Terrence Lewis and Tatum Bethune went to the same high school, Miami Central High School, down there in South Florida. So it was actually a weird thing. It's like Tatum Bethune just announced that he was leaving UCF, and then Terrence Lewis commits, and Tatum Bethune retweeted his commitment to UCF, saying it was a good thing. He was excited for him. It was just like a strange thing there.
Yeah.
But we're definitely going to miss Tatum Bethune. But it's good to have Terrence.
This
Lewis
transfer
and
portal
Daniel.
thing is very odd. It's just weird. And we talked a lot about it last week. It's like the NFL without contracts.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody likes to call it free agency, but it's crazier than free agency.
Yeah, it's way crazier than free agency because there's no type of contract holding anybody anywhere. They can on a whim go wherever they want to. And I think something needs to be done about it. I like that players can transfer, but there was a consequence of transferring before. There needs to be something that keeps these players around a little bit longer. I don't know. There was the consequence of, having to sit out an entire year. But now we have teams or players switching teams in the same conferences, sometimes in the same division of conferences. That just gets really weird. Yeah. So, all right, we'll be right back after this Knightline at Night. Thank you.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this. We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys? My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. Like, I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law. This is about the time of the show where we do our Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week, so let's get to that. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Tijuana Flats, by the way, the local sponsor of the Hula Bowl, being played at UCF coming up in a few days here. I believe it's the 17th?
15th, I think. Okay, next Saturday.
I'm totally wrong. So,
6 days.
next Saturday. And watch our Twitter account because I will be giving away a couple more of those tickets, and that is UCF_Knightline if you want to get in on Hula Bowl tickets, courtesy of Tijuana Flats. Ben, go ahead with your Tijuana Flats hot take of the week.
All right. UCF men's basketball has 6 games left in January, in the month of January. That's Memphis at home, as we mentioned, at South Florida, at ECU, Tulane at home, at Wichita State, where we've never beaten them, at Wichita State. And then we finish out the month with Houston, a top 10 team coming into our house. So I am saying my hot take is that we are going to go 5-1 over that span. We're going to bounce back and get back on track. And if we go 5-1, that means we beat at least Memphis, Houston, Wichita State, a combination of 2 of those 3. So 5-1 the rest of the month.
That sounds good. All right, Roger.
I think my hand's burning right now. But that being said, for my Tijuana Flats hot take of the week, I will say that with the roster that's shaping up, that UCF will win the American Athletic Conference and go into 2023 in the Big 12 as champions. I feel like we have the defense and we have the running back depth to be able to overcome any other shortcomings that we may have. So I feel like next year we win the AAC.
Okay. Then I was beginning to wonder what sport you were talking about there for a second, but in football. Okay. You said running back, so then I understood. So I'm going to say mine's going to be a football one as well. And given the conversation that we had just a little while ago, I'm going to say Mikey Keene will be the starting quarterback for UCF going into the next season. I don't see whatever this guy's name is. Plumlee. I was about to say it. I don't see Plumlee taking him out as far as being the starting quarterback. I just don't. I think that he will have, like I said earlier, a role a lot like Parker Navarro and Joey Gatewood. So I just think that, good for Wildcat, stuff like that. Maybe he can throw it a little bit better than Gatewood, hopefully. And maybe you could actually confuse teams by putting a different quarterback out there. Everybody knew when Gatewood came out, they're going to run. They're going to run. He's never going to throw because he can't hit anything.
Yeah.
So if we had a guy, and we do, that can run and possibly can throw the ball, even though, we just really haven't seen a lot of throwing the ball yet. So anyway, thank you all for listening. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Go Knights.
Charge on.